What is up, H-Town and Astros fans everywhere? Welcome to episode 37 of the Believe in Astros podcast on the Believe Podcasting Network. I'm Geoff Blum, my partner, all rosy-cheeked and ready to be Blummer Claus, Geoff Blum. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, and, of course, YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe to keep up with us. And give us a follow on Twitter, at Believe in Astros. You can find me at Geoff Balke, Blummer's at Blummer27. Send us your comments, questions, holiday traditions, where you found your Squishmallow for Christmas, because God knows that is the toy of the year. Have you seen these, Blummer? The Squishmallow?
I have not.
Yeah,
What
they're
the
like
heck
these.
is a Squishmallow.
It's like this stuffed animal that's like super squishy. I don't know how to describe it. It's ridiculous, but it is like it's the Teddy Ruxpin or the, I don't know, whatever crazy toy of the year, and they have them everywhere. My wife has somehow acquired two of them, not by her own desire, but because they've been provided. One, the dog took care of, and then the other one is residing in the guest bedroom. Blummer, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Yeah, so I mean the hot stove keeps rolling, and ex-Astros continue to get paid
Ain't
a
that the
great
truth?
deal of money. But other than that, it's been good. I've been able to host a couple of Astro lines, which has been nice. Talked to Ryan Stanek yesterday, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So it's been good.
Nice. How is he? What is his off season like, and what's going on with him?
Dude, it's crazy. You know, the Astros are in such a unique situation with these abbreviated off seasons, so
Right.
you kind of have to slam life into a really small amount of time. And
Totally.
with the lockout, the rain out in the World Series, he had to, he was in panic mode getting to his wedding, honeymoon, but in the middle of his daughter taking a nap, he had the time to do an interview with us. So he's incredibly gracious, and I can't ask him enough questions on how the heck he throws 100 miles an hour every single time he's out there. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Some guys just have that, and
Yeah.
it's just unique. I stopped by the Astros team shop yesterday.
Let's say the lid's looking good, dude.
I know. Look at this
hats.
cool sweet. I found this lid there yesterday, and I was like, "Damn, that thing is cool." I wasn't there to buy anything for myself. I was doing a little holiday shopping.
Wouldn't
But
that look good on Geoff Balke?
oh no, I was like, this would look real good on my head. And the funny thing is, my wife is like, I haven't found you anything for Christmas. Why didn't I get that hat? I'm like, listen, I don't know when the feeling of a good hat is going to hit me.
Yeah.
And when I was there and I saw it, I'm like, listen, I'm going to wear this on the podcast. I'm definitely wearing it to shoot hoops in today. I can't just wait around until Christmas to get a hat. These things are important.
Yep,
They're
better
critically.
believe it.
And I got And I got a couple of nice little Christmas ornaments because my tree was rather bereft of Astros gear. So yeah, and I found a few gifts. Not that I'm pimping the team store or anything here. I mean, honestly, I don't have a dog in that race. I mean, they didn't give me the hat. So but I tell you, they do have some cool stuff.
Yeah, they have very cool stuff.
All right, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor. Basketball is back. Hey, don't look now. Rockets look pretty good. Whooped up
They're
on
playing as a team, yeah, man.
right. Whooped up on Milwaukee the other night. Beat a man-shortened Phoenix team last night. Pretty good. BetOnline remains your number one source for all sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf, baseball over under already being set for next year.
Jeez.
You said it, shortened off season, man. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Use promo code BLEAV to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Blummer, let's talk about Carlos Correa, because Correa got what he wanted, which was not just a lot of money, but a lot of years. 13 years, $350 million. That's $27 million a year until he turns 41 years old. I mean, we've talked about it. it's these years that get me. The money is $27 million a year seems pretty right in the neighborhood for Carlos Correa. That seems right, as crazy as $27 million a year sounds for any human being. But it sounds right given the market. But 13 years? Like, is Carlos Correa going to be Carlos Correa at 38, 39, 40, 41 years old? I mean, my goodness.
Dude, you know what? That's where I'm trying to unpack some of these years. Trey Turner, 11 years.
Right.
You get these guys that get these massive contracts and the extended amount of time that they're getting. And granted, Carlos, is currently 28, be 29 next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add 13 to that, and then you've got 42 years. But at the same time, I think we've talked about on this podcast, the universal DH is out there. So if you can maximize a guy playing a position for 5 years, well, shoot, now you're talking 6.5 years to get halfway through this contract, which is amazing. Then you say, okay, we can move him into that DH spot, or even a Carlos Correa can move to third base. But I do believe, that Brandon Crawford, who's been the shortstop at the San Francisco Giants forever, it feels like, he's got himself 3 World Series championships. Does he move to second base? Does he move to third base? Does Carlos play third base for a year and then move to shortstop? I think that's what's going to be interesting to see. But at the same time, they haven't had that perennial 20 home run guy in their lineup. Right. Carlos is going to provide that. And I think in that division, it's going to be extremely interesting to see him go through L.A. a couple of times a year and play against the Dodgers consistently.
That's the best part.
But at the same time, they're going to have to build around him. And that's where I think that what crazy as this sounds, that $27 million is a big number. But the way the markets continue to move, what is that $27 million going to look like in 4 or 5 years? You may be able to have enough revenue to build around him and start giving him some product to go out there and maybe compete in the National League West. But it's a big start, and it's a big star that is moving to San Francisco. And Carlos Correa is going to be that guy that is going to garner a lot of attention in San Francisco.
Yeah, the best part about this deal is he gets to play the Dodgers a whole bunch every year. It's the best. I mean, it's somebody I was reading the Athletic Pulse this morning, their morning newsletter, and they were like, that's quite a flex from San Francisco because not only did they get their permanent shortstop, but they also got a guy that's going to drive the Dodgers bonkers every year.
Yeah, that rivalry's already built in, and then that is going to really spice things.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. But I agree with you in terms of the dollar amount. Like, the dollar amount is right on the money.
Yeah,
I mean, the only guy this year that really got outrageous money was Justin Verlander. I mean, he got $40 million a year. Little over $40 million a year. Everybody else who got deals, they're all in that $20 to $27, $28 million a year range. And again, by normal standards, that's absolutely freaking crazy. Yeah. But by baseball standards, that's really about right. And again, like you said, in 4 or 5 years, $27 million is probably not. I mean, somebody's going to get $500 million here in the next couple of years on a contract. I mean, it's coming. It's definitely coming. I did think it was interesting that his AAV is slightly higher than Lindor, which was
Weird
Carlos.
How it works out, right?
He wanted to. It was that too. Like, he was like, all right, here's how much he's getting. Let me just get a little bit more. Like, it's about $1 a year. That kind of thing. But yeah, the years are just crazy to me. And of course, the Astros aren't doing those deals, and we've talked about it. I just cannot see any good reason. I mean, if Carlos Correa was 22 years old and you signed him for 11, for 13 years, okay. Like the Seattle doing their deal with Rodriguez, for like 14 years. He's 21 or 22 years old.
Yep.
That I totally understand, right? You lock this guy up. Plus, he has some opt-outs along the way. But 13 years for a guy that's going to be 29, none of those deals ever work out well,
No, they always do. And, you're catching Carlos Correa at maybe his peak. Even though he's played as well as he has for as long as he has, you still have that window that usually 27 to 32 where everybody's, performing at the peak. So they bought up those years, which I get. But isn't it? It's an incredible luxury, and it's interesting to sit on this side of it, on the Astro bubble, and sit on the inside of the Astro bubble, realize what they've been able to accomplish not just in the last six years, but what they've been able to develop, what they've been able to draft, what they've been able to let go and still be competitive and sit here, look outside, see the money flying like crazy, the years on these contracts getting bigger and bigger, and yet the Astros are kind of sitting there going, wow, good for them. They got the money, they got the contracts. Good for Steve Cohen. Good for the Giants picking up a superstar. We're just going to sit here, kind of chill out for a little bit, and watch you guys do your thing. And oh, by the way, the Las Vegas came out with the odds and said we're still the favorite to win the World Series. That's what's amazing to me. And I think it's really cost effective. Whatever you want to throw into it, the Astros are sitting in a pretty good spot.
You're 100% on it, Blummer. Exactly what I was thinking is like this is the sign of an look, everyone else is scratching and clawing to get what the Astros have, right? I mean, that's what they're doing. They're out there working their tails off to do it, and they're having to do it. Like the Mets is a good example. This is an artificial team build, right? This is they are piecing together a team with money. The Astros have not done that. They haven't signed a ton of free agents over the years. Here and there,
they've made key pieces when they needed them, but
right,
man, like the Abreu, 3 years.
Right, exactly. They signed a few guys here and there. They made trades for guys here and there, but for the most part, this is an organization that grows its own. So it's got to be the envy of everybody, even if their farm system isn't rated very highly. Yeah, it's remarkable what they're doing.
Well, just one more thing on the minor leagues for the Astros. They don't have the depth, and I think that's what a lot of I'd have to dig a little bit more and talk to some of the people who rank these minor league systems, and I think it has to do with consistency of depth, how many guys you have on the top 100 prospect list. But the guys that the Astros do have on that prospect list aren't, how do you explain it? They don't have the depth, but they have the guys that will impact maybe a little bit quicker than some of these other organizations that have, the phenomenal A-ball team or the phenomenal high A team or double A. The Astros have guys that are impact worthy on that prospect list now. And I think that's what makes them, it allows them to maybe compensate for not being one of the best minor league organizations, is that they do have a handful of guys that can have an impact sooner than some of these other organizations.
That's a really good point, Blummer. I do think that the only issue that it brings up for the Astros is it does hamstring them a little bit when it comes to trying to make trades, because that lack of depth. One of the reported deals we saw out there, Sean Murphy goes to Atlanta, and frankly, the A's really didn't get a whole lot back.
What they're doing,
I don't know what's going on with. What are the Oakland A's doing? They're just, but they didn't get much back. But then you look out there, the recent rumors with the Astros. I'm glad you brought up the minor leagues because this was on my list.
Yep.
There's rumors swirling around Daulton Varsho, who, look, the Astros are looking for a catcher, a center fielder, and a lefty bat. Well,
there he is.
That's the guy. He does all of those things. But the report is they're looking for 2 to 3 top line prospects plus a frontline starting pitcher. You're talking about probably having to give up Pedro Leon, one of the catchers, Corey Lee or Yenner Diaz, probably a minor league pitching prospect, plus probably somebody like Christian Javier. You're talking about, or Hunter Brown, right?
I ain't trading.
Exactly. I don't think I'm trading. I might be willing to go as far as Luis Garcia, if you're talking about a starting pitcher. Or Jose Urquidy perhaps, but I don't want to give up any pitching, especially with moving Verlander. I just think the price might be too much for them.
And good for the Diamondbacks for asking for that. That Brent Strom's over there, and he's just looking at this organization who he is so familiar with, and just going, that guy, this guy, that guy, just saying. But catching is such a commodity these days that it is. Varsho presents the all-in-one package. He has experience catching behind the plate, so he'll provide either that second or third catcher. I think he'd be more that third catcher because he's playing so much outfield. But he's got, I think, 3 or 4 years of control as far as arbitration before he gets to free agency. That's part of the issue too. His value is incredibly high. He'd be a great fit because he's hyper athletic. He puts together great at bats, sneaky pop. and the left-handed bat, which we always talk about Dusty being able to separate some of those right-handed hitters in that lineup. But yeah, that's the hard problem. That's where we don't know who's GMing or quarterbacking all of these conversations and talks. But once you get off the phone and you hang it up and you sit back and you go, what is our organization? What does my rotation look like without an Urquidy, without a Luis Garcia? Can we go out there and find somebody in a free agent market after this season behind home plate, after we get through this season with Maldonado? I think that's where a lot of these questions lie, and is that value worth it? And it's another one of, I feel like it's another one of those situations, again, like we just talked about, where the Astros can kind of sit back and evaluate the situation and not make a panicked move.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest situation right here, is not to panic, because you don't have to. You're fine
Correct.
with Chas McCormick out there. You're fine with Martin Maldonado. You're fine with a lot of these pieces. It's a luxury choice to go out there and find a guy like Varsho. Are you willing to do it and take it on the chin as far as that trade is concerned?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for the Astros. They do have time. Time is definitely on their side. They can watch all these other teams spend all this money and go past them. They went and got the one guy that they really wanted, and they got him immediately.
Yep, you're right. He was
early
the target,
on.
and they got him.
And they got him. Let's be honest, they got him before anybody set the market.
Yep.
I mean, it shouldn't go unnoticed that the Astros went out and got Jose Abreu before any of these big deals were signed. They're like, let's do this.
Yep.
So kudos to them. I mean, they still want a lefty. They can't get Daulton Varsho. Andrew Benintendi is still out there. Michael Conforto is still out there, and then of course Michael Brantley, who I think Brantley's coming back. I mean, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point. He's just not healthy yet, and so they can't really evaluate him, and they can't decide. How do you give him money if you don't know, right?
Yeah, dude, and I almost interrupted you earlier than I just did, because
I know where you're going. I know exactly where you're going.
Man, I'm such a Michael Brantley fan. I'm like,
me
dude,
too.
I'm like, I don't just call him up and say, hey, we have an idea where you are physically and health wise, and this kind of goes back to the previous point with Varsho. You're not panicked. You don't have to go get a guy. You can wait until May, June, July for Michael Brantley. And you can say, hey, man, when you're ready, just go ahead. Here's the paper. Just sign it and send it to us and tell us when you're going to be ready. And I think that would be a lot of fun to be able to do, because selfishly, this guy, Michael Brantley, provides that left-handed bat. He'll be able to split time out there in left field between Chas, Jordan, whoever else you want out there.
Mm-hmm.
Chas can go to center field, or he can go to right field, move Tucker to center. There's so many options with Michael Brantley there. That's just on the field. What he provided off the field speaks volumes to him as a human and what he means to this ball club in that clubhouse. And the conversations I've had with him, the jokes he tells, the knowledge of the game, I'm sold on Michael Brantley. I would be more than willing to sit back, pump the brakes, and enjoy having Urquidy, Garcia, Javier, all these guys in my rotation. Then all of a sudden wake up one day in the middle of June or July and going, Michael Brantley's back, and we have Christmas in July.
I'm with you, Plummer. It's funny. Like I've said this before. That was like reading my mind. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, listen,
it's almost too easy. Yeah.
Michael Brantley. The thing about Brantley that is so valuable to the Astros, besides his leadership, which is obviously huge, and is you can move him all around the lineup, right?
Yeah.
And he's fine. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs, but he makes contact all the time. He walks a lot. He doesn't strike out. I mean, this guy consistently hits in the 280s every single year.
And that's with the shift. This guy is a shift beater. We've watched him manipulate the baseball to get base hits with runners in scoring position. Take the home run numbers out of it, and who knows? If he's healthy, I think some of those power numbers actually come back a little bit. Maybe not to the 20 plateau, but he'll give you 12 to 15 in a full season. But without that shift being employed and he sees the field so well at the plate that seeing that shift is not being employed, there's going to be so many more holes for him to attack when he's up at the plate that I think that, man, I would love to be on his PR staff because I love this guy.
You're like, Uncle Mike, Uncle Mike, Uncle Mike. Yeah, start chanting for him. I'm sold. You sold me, Blummer. Let me get the contract out. Let's say.
Yeah.
Well,
tell Jim I'll GM this one. I'll take credit for this signing.
You'd be like, come on, man. So Christian Vasquez signed with the Twins. We knew that he was going to be out there looking for a starting spot. Yeah. Here's the question, and I think this is one that we've talked about a little bit. But we haven't really dug into it too much, and that is the Astros have been pretty aggressively looking at catchers, right? Mm-hmm. So that tells me that they are not comfortable with playing either Corey Lee or Yaniel. Pronounce that for me. I always have trouble. Yiner, thank you. Yeah, like Shiner. Okay, I got that.
I like it.
Easy. Yiner Diaz, they obviously are not comfortable with them defensively. I think they're comfortable with their bats. Yes. But defensively, I don't think they're... And like we've talked about, the calling of the game, the dealing with the rule changes, the sort of split-second decisions that are going to have to be made. Are we seeing a change in... Like, Martin Maldonado is great. He is a absolute black hole in the lineup. We all know this. It's fine. He'll get some home runs on occasion because he's still got power. Mm-hmm. But it does seem a little surprising to me that the Astros have been so aggressive, at least reportedly, looking at catchers when they do have two guys that are essentially ready for the big leagues.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And well, at first it sounded like when they were in on the talks on Wilson Contreras, that was more of an offensive upgrade because...
Agreed.
I'm not sure. Christian Vasquez might have been the only guy that might have been not an upgrade, but a lateral move defensively, which is a good thing because Martin set the bar so high with his ability to navigate not just the psychology of working with every single pitcher, but also the psychology of working within a game, calling a game, staying a step ahead. And I really feel like you just said, that's going to be even more enhanced once you add the pitch clock to it, because then you're going to have to speed up that train of thought. And he's going to have to be able to relay those signs quickly. So that's one thing. But defensively, Martin brings so much. And I think that's where you might find the idea of going to get a catcher. And it's for the future, too. And, no offense to Corey Lee or Yiner Diaz, because I agree with you. Offensively, these guys are going to provide some offense in their future in the big leagues. They're going to play in the big leagues. It's just a matter of when and where. And those are two guys that were hampered by the COVID season, not getting another full season of reps. So they're kind of playing a year behind, trying to catch up. But I also like the idea of having them near a guy like Martin Maldonado, because once you start to watch him and absorb the information, Martin's a great teacher. He loves being around these guys and giving them information and helping them along the way. So that there's a little cost benefit to having them struggle at the big league level that they're around Martin Maldonado. Mm-hmm. But you're right. When you do see a team like the Astros, knowing that they have two prospects behind the plate, looking for catchers maybe after Maldonado, it does kind of make you wonder how do they feel about the Corey Lees and the Yiner Diazes?
Yeah, it's very odd. I will ask you this, a totally weird question, but why are there no left-handed catching catchers? Like, have you ever noticed?
I think it's that throw to third base, to be honest with you.
Is that what it is?
That pickoff would just be, man, pardon me, but ass backwards. Because I think with the right-handed catcher, it's just a catch and a quick turn. It's like turning to double play at second base. It's just a natural.
I guess also if you're
third base.
Yeah, it's always seemed funny to me that there's nobody. Like I can't think of it.
The tag play at home plate too might be another thing.
Oh yeah, good call. So I guess if you're going to be a catcher, go ahead and bat left, but to hell with catching left. So stick with catching right, especially.
If you catch and switch hit or hit left-handed, hell yeah, you got a future.
You better make sure you're amphibious. Oh, wait, no, that's not right.
Yeah, no, I was amphibious when I played. I totally get
it. So last thing, the Houston Sports Awards are coming up. I don't know if you've ever been or if you're.
I have. It's an amazing event.
Event. I've never been. I definitely want to go.
The Houston Sports Authority goes all out. It is a red carpet, Oscar-worthy type event. It's awesome.
Well, Alex Bregman is hosting this year.
That should be entertaining.
Which I was going to ask you about. I was going to ask you, tell me what you think about Alex Bregman hosting this. He seems like an ideal guy for something like this.
Yes, well, it's funny when we do interviews with him, he's very measured and diplomatic in his answers. Always complimentary, never takes a lot of the credit. So but I also know that hanging around the batting cage off camera, seeing that personality tells me that he's going to do a phenomenal job because he's got that dry wit about him.
Yeah, right?
And you and I both know that he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So I would imagine there's going to be some nice digs in there. Maybe not in the community that's watching on the floor, but maybe some of those sound bites might make their way into the Ethernet.
I could see that. The thing that gets me about him is he is a master of the side eye. Like that guy really has it down. Like he's almost as good as the James Harden side eye. Not quite, but it's in that league. That's for exactly sure. Right. He's got that thing, and so I think he's going to be great. And by the way, this Houston Sports Awards may as well be called the Houston Astros Awards because it is just. I mean, I said, Chandler Rome tweeted out a list of everything and said, this tells you everything you need to know about Houston sports right now. And basically every nomination was one of three things. And this is what's so weird to me. It was Houston Astros baseball, University of Houston men's basketball, which is makes total sense, and University of Houston women's volleyball. Those were literally the full-on awards. I'm like, listen, Texans, Rockets, y'all might need to start thinking. I mean, at least with the Rockets, you know that they're building towards something.
Yeah.
But
yes, I agree.
I think the only thing
that working its way into something beautiful. The football team,
the Texans, the only thing they're working themselves toward is the first pick in the draft, which hopefully will be that. I mean, it's just, it's crazy though to think about. Like when I saw that list of awards, look, the Astros deserve it. Obviously,
yes.
this is as you've said last time. This has become a baseball city, and deservedly so. Deservedly so in every way. A quick aside. I think not only have the Astros changed this as a baseball city, I think personally the building of Minute Maid Park and the Astros' subsequent success has literally changed foundationally how the city behaves, operates, and I'll tell you why. I was actually involved in the campaign for getting the Toyota Center approved.
Oh, wow.
Which went through two referendums, actually. The first one failed, the second one succeeded, and I was deeply involved in that second one. And the thing that changed everyone's opinion of building an arena was the year Minute Maid opened. Oh, and wow. I can tell you right now, I used to, when I was a musician, back in the day when I was playing full time, we used to rehearse in the warehouse district. And the only thing down there were basically homeless people. There's nothing down there. And when they built Minute Maid Park, it legitimately changed the landscape of downtown Houston. And then, soon after that, you roll out the light rail, and then it's the Toyota Center. And it really completely altered downtown Houston. And, of course, there's a group called the Downtown District run by a guy named Bob Urey, or he did. They've been responsible for doing all these things. And Minute Maid Park was the beginning of that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's not just that baseball in Houston has changed, sports, the landscape. I genuinely think it has also changed the physical landscape of the city of Houston, particularly in and around the urban core. So, it's hard to say that a baseball team can make that big of a change, right? They can change literally how people see your city. But I think the Astros may have done that.
Well, you add what you just said to the. Let's go back to the World Series parade.
Oh yeah.
This is something that Ryan Stanek brought up yesterday when I talked to him. There's connections to teams, and then there's what the Houston community means to the Houston Astros and what the Houston Astros mean to the community. And I don't think that you can, it would be tough for you to tell me that there's another fan base that's as connected as the Astros fans to the Astros. Yeah. It is so much fun to watch these people show up, gravitate, fight, battle, pray, love, enjoy as much as this group of fans and team do together. And maybe it's a credit to, the ballpark, the way it's set up and being where it's at, establishing that foundation, and then putting a team inside that facility that just embraces those fans every time they come through the gates. It's one of the more amazing things I think I've seen in all of my sports career.
Well, and also it obviously, look, Houston has never been a city that, people are, it's not beautiful, in the traditional sense. It's not like on the Pacific Ocean. It's not like, it's kind of a mutt of a city. I mean, it was built basically on the backs of a couple of swindlers who convinced everybody that it looked like, if you ever look at old photos, like they had these magazine ads of what the Allen brothers were selling to people. The illustrations of Houston looked like the Rhine River Valley in Germany. I mean, they were literally huckstering people into coming down and living in a swamp, right? Yep. So, and once they got down here, they couldn't leave because they didn't have any money. So it really, Houston has always been kind of a mutt of a city. And so what this really, to me, what the Astros have done is they've reinstilled not just a sense of pride in the city, which I think the Houstonians have already, but they instilled a sense of us against the world. Yep. Which I think is really a big deal when you're trying to forge an identity for a city. That kid that was on the camera when they were like, "What do you say to the people who said the Astros don't deserve this?" He was like, "F y'all." Like, that is so 100% Houston and so perfect for the way that that Houstonians have done it. When for decades prior, and I know because I grew up here, people apologized for Houston, right? They apologized. They'd like, "I'm from Houston. I know." Like, that was the thing. Or when people would visit, they'd be like, "I'm sorry, it's not a great city," or whatever.
Daughters.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm a
Houstonian. I mean, they sold out. It's great.
Back in the 70s and 80s, it was not like that. And now it's completely 180. And I don't want to give all the credit to the Astros, but let's give them their due, man.
But it's but it's exposed what you've grown up in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And one of the things I just kind of popped in my head, I may have to hashtag it or trademark it or whatever.
Do it.
But the simplicity of Houston is that comment that the guy made: if you ain't with us, you're against us, and we're okay with that. But the survive and thrive idea of it,
nice.
It's not paradise. It's not immaculate. It's hard. It's ours, and we're going to make it work. And that's what I love about Houston, is that just survive and thrive kind of mentality that they have down here. It's beautiful, and the team definitely fits that.
You need to go Pat Riley and trademark that immediately, like he did with 3-peat. Get on that. Get on that, Blummer. Get on with the U.S. Patent Office and be like,
you heard it here first.
You heard it here first, exactly. All right, everybody. Thanks so much, Blummer. Any final thoughts before we go? I'm heading off to New York tomorrow.
Dude, yeah, you're gonna. I mean, the cold weather came down here, but you're gonna get up there in New York into enemy territory. I know you're gonna be well represented because you already have the hat.
Oh yeah.
But nothing but safe travels to you, and I just look forward to what this offseason is bringing, and how I still can't believe how quickly this offseason is moving.
It's unreal.
Like we're Christmas, New Year's, and all of a sudden you and I are going to be going, pitchers and catchers are reporting, woohoo, stuff like that.
Spring training is around the corner. Yeah. It's just it's crazy.
You're almost under 100 days till spring training.
Yes. No, that's 100% correct. Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, we're right at 100 days, just about 100 days before opening day. Never mind pitchers and catchers. Like, never mind spring training. I saw somebody post that yesterday. It was like, opening day. Holy crap. Yeah, I'm headed to the belly of the beast. There. I will be decked in Astros gear, and they will be hating every minute of it, and I'll be just like, delicious. I'll be in Brooklyn. I just want to go get a picture of me in front of Yankee Stadium, like wearing full Astros gear.
Believe it.
Here we go.
You'll be the envy of all Astro fans.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today, everybody. We'll be back next week with some fresh pods pre-Christmas. We might have a special Christmas jingle next week, kind of the way we did for Thanksgiving. It's possible. I'm just giving a little tease on that one. Brought to you by Bet Online, so thanks to them as well. Obviously, thanks to everybody around the world who's been watching. You've been obviously kicking butt, liking and subscribing. Our YouTube channel is kind of blowing up a little bit, which I love. And obviously, lots of people are listening right now, and it's fantastic, and we love it. Keep leaving the comments. I read them all. And I love seeing the involvement and everybody getting after it. The hot stove season just keeps on rolling. And so, all right, we will talk to you guys next week. As always, go Astros.